Israel has been one of the most vocal critics of Iran's nuclear program and has actually been extremely critical of the progress of the talks that have been taking place in Geneva in recent weeks. In fact, just this week, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu travelling to Moscow to meet Vladimir Putin to discuss this issue with him. So for the expected reaction to the agreement, we go to Ian Lee in Jerusalem, where I presume it's just coming up to about 4:30 in the morning, Ian. So news not breaking as yet, perhaps, as most people are asleep. But is there any reaction at all coming to you from the Prime Minister's office?
Well, no reaction yet, Fanula, but we're expecting the Prime Minister not to be happy with the deal. He's been a vocal critic of it since the negotiations have begun. He has said that this is Israel's #1 security issue is Iran with a nuclear weapon, and he believes that this deal will lead to Iran obtaining the nuclear weapon. So we're expecting a negative reaction here. The Defense Ministry has also said that they believe that this is a bad deal as well. Now, we don't know the details of the deal, but the Israelis all along have said that they know the details and that they say that it's not going to be in Israel's benefit. And I've asked officials all week, what happens if this deal goes through? The Israelis did seem to believe that a deal was going to go through. I asked them, they said, they were very vague. They said that they didn't rule out any options and that they didn't rule out a military option, not saying that they would strike Iran or anything, but they said that they would not rule out any options. So we'll be waiting to see what the Israelis say.
All right, Ian, just bear with us for the moment, if you will, because we're hearing that in about 45 minutes from now, President Obama is going to make a statement from the White House. That will be at roughly 10:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ian, of course, this is Sunday, the first day of the working week in Israel, and the expected cabinet meeting to take place later in the day. So there will be plenty of people looking out for reaction then from Benjamin Netanyahu. But does this interim deal and the lead up to it actually mean a break in some way, or at least at the very least put some strain on the relationship between Washington and Israel?
Well, there's no question there has been a strain in the relationship, and openly both sides would say that it's just a disagreement among friends. That's the phrase they like to use. But there have been some open sparring between both sides. You had Secretary of State Kerry saying that the P5+1 know what they're doing, they know what's going on, but the whole time you've had Israel criticize those movements. You've also had President Obama and Prime Minister Netanyahu come out and have disagreements openly too. So while there is a, quote, disagreement among friends, it does seem to be relations are strained. Even one very strong Israeli supporter in the United States has said that there is eroding trust between the two countries. So when you have those officials channels say it's just a spat, but in other places it looks like there is some eroding of a relationship, at least partially and temporarily.
The question is, of course, what's going to be in that detailed statement that we're expecting, the actual details of this interim agreement. Ian, how much is the public in Israel in favour or against this potential interim deal that we've been hearing about?
Well, this seems to be one of the issues that the majority of Israelis back the Prime Minister on. We've been out and about talking to people, and they would say, you know, I disagree with him on certain issues, but when it comes to Iran, it seems like the majority of Israelis, also in the press reading the various newspapers, seem to be behind the Prime Minister. One issue that they can rally against, because they believe that this is their #1 security threat to Israel, is Iran, the nuclear-powered Iran, and that's why they're just so afraid of this deal. They believe that this deal will lead to Iran obtaining a nuclear weapon.